If I woke up tomorrow morning and found out I was 60 years old and I looked at my retirement account and realized I wasn't anywhere close to where I thought I'd be by now, look, I wouldn't panic, but I also wouldn't waste another year pretending the problem would just fix itself, because here's what nobody tells you about being 60. You still have something incredibly valuable: time. Now, look, not unlimited time, but enough time to change the outcome. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what I would do. Quite frankly, it's what I had to do in the order that I would do it. And there's one moment about halfway through this video where the math, it actually gets easier instead of harder. I'll show you exactly when that happens. Now, picture this person for a second. They didn't gamble. They didn't day trade their savings into the ground. They didn't fall for some crypto scheme and lose their retirement. They just lived. Kids needed things. A layoff happened at the worst possible time. Maybe a marriage ended, and with it, half of everything that had been built. A parent got sick, and someone had to step in. Inflation ate into raises that never quite kept up. A recession wipes out 2 years of growth in 2 months. None of that shows up as a mistake on paper. It just shows up as a smaller number than you hoped for. So now this person is sitting there, staring at that number, asking the only question that matters: is it too late? Well, I'm not going to answer that question yet, because before I answer that, I want to tell you something. I understand this because I lived, at least my version of it, years ago. I stepped away from a really pretty successful career to care for my father, who was fighting Alzheimer's. When I finally looked up, my retirement plan, it wasn't where I'd imagined it would be either. I procrastinated. And then I realized something. Life doesn't always follow the spreadsheet, because the honest answer depends on one thing, and it's not how much you've already saved, it's what you do in the next 12 months. And I've seen people completely turn their retirement around in just a few years simply by changing what they decided to do next. Look, decision one has nothing to do with money. The first mistake people make when they feel behind, it isn't financial, it's emotional. It happens scrolling. A headline about a couple who retired with $3 million, maybe a neighbor's new boat in the driveway, a friend's beach photo with the caption, "Hey, no more Mondays." Every one of those moments invites the same comparison. And comparison, when you're already behind, it doesn't motivate you. It panics you, and panic is expensive. Panic is what moves an entire portfolio into something risky 2 years before you need the money. Panic is what turns a temporary feeling into a permanent decision. So here's the first move. It's not going to cost you anything. Stop measuring your retirement against anyone else's highlight reel. The fastest way to make your retirement worse is trying to catch up to somebody else's timeline, because the goal, it isn't catching up. The goal is building a retirement that you don't have to apologize for. Decision two is where the real work actually starts. And the real work, it does not begin with investments. It begins with reality. Before you touch a single account, you need 6 numbers in front of you. You need to know, what's your account balance? You need to know your monthly spending and real, right? What's the budget? What are you actually spending every single month? You need to know your Social Security benefit, all right? And 3 places. What's your benefit likely to be at 62, 67, and 70? You got to know, what's your housing situation? Are you carrying a mortgage into retirement? Are you renting? Can you downsize? This one's the scary one for a lot of us. A lot of us continue to work because we're not sure about our health care. How much is health care going to be? How can I get it? And lastly, the big one. All right, the big one for all of us, debt. How much debt are we carrying into retirement? Can we get that debt paid down? How is that going to affect us as we go into retirement? Most people can tell you their account balance down to the dollar. Fewer people can tell you their actual monthly spending within, say, $500. That's backwards. You can't build a plan from a guess. There's one number that matters more than your account balance, and it's your monthly spend. That number tells you what you're solving for in the first place. Everything else, it's just a tool to get there. Please answer all 6 honestly, and you're no longer guessing. You now have a plan. Look, if you don't have those 6 numbers in front of you right now, look, that's normal. Most people don't. That's actually why we built something called the Retirement Reality Check. It walks you through exactly where you stand. It'll take about 10 minutes. Look, drop your email over at brainflash.com. It comes right to your inbox. Look, no pressure, but it's a place to start. Now, decision 3 is the one that surprises people the most. Here's where the hope actually starts to show up. 1 extra year of work. Doesn't sound like much when you say it out loud, but look at what it actually buys you. It buys you another year of savings going in instead of withdrawals coming out. It often buys you a larger Social Security check for the rest of your life. It buys another year of compounding on whatever it is that you've already built. And if you're still working, it can buy another year of employer health insurance. And it might be worth more than you think. Look, one decision, but 4 or 5 benefits all stacking on top of each other. That's what I did. But first, I had to close the chapter on the career I had and find a job to fit who I now was. If working 1 extra year means saving another $20,000, avoiding a year of withdrawals, increasing your future Social Security benefit, look, that single decision can change your retirement far more than finding the next hot investment. 1 extra year close to retirement is worth far more than 1 extra year decades earlier ever was. All right, decision 4. This solves the fear that nobody wants to say out loud. Healthcare is usually the real reason people delay retirement past the point they actually need to. So let's take the mystery out of it. If you retire before 65, marketplace plans often come with subsidies that are far more generous than you expect, especially the year that your income drops. If your spouse is still working, their employer coverage might extend out to you. COBRA does exist, but man, it's usually the most expensive option. It's not the first one to reach for most of us. If you're still eligible, an HSA can quietly become one of the most powerful accounts you own. And if you're within striking distance of 65, Medicare timing alone can shift your whole plan. Look, none of this is simple, but none of it is unsolvable either. Look, don't assume your healthcare is unaffordable until you've actually priced it. Most people overestimate what health insurance will actually cost once they sit down, make a few phone calls, and map it out. There's one change almost every retirement calculator ignores. It's the moment the entire equation flips. Now, look, we're almost there, all right? Here's the moment I told you about at the start. The one where the math gets easier instead of harder. Almost everyone trying to catch up focuses on one side of the equation, growing the amount you have in savings. Save more, invest more aggressively, work longer. There's a second side of the equation that gets almost no attention, the number you actually need. Downsizing the house, relocating somewhere with a lower cost of living, paying off a car or a credit card that's quietly draining $400 or $500 every month. simplifying. Fewer subscriptions, fewer obligations, fewer things to maintain. Reducing what you need every month does the exact same job as increasing what you have. Look, let's say that again. It's the whole reason for this video. Reducing what you need every month does the exact same job as increasing what you have. It just does it without taking on a single bit of market risk. Sometimes the fastest way to become financially secure isn't to have more, it's to need less. Decision 6 is about what not to do. This is exactly the moment people get into trouble. Right after they realize that they're behind, their instinct is to think, I need to double this money fast. So what do? They take on more risk than they've ever taken in their life right when they have the least time to recover from a mistake. That's not the moment for speculation. It's not the moment for chasing whatever did well last year. It's not the moment to let panic make an investment decision. This is the moment to protect what you've already built and let the other decisions in this video do the heavy lifting. Look, you don't recover lost time by swinging harder. You recover it by being patient with the plan you're building. So decision 7 is the one most people never even consider. Most people, when they feel behind, ask the exact same question. How do I save more? There's a better question. How do I create another $500 a month? That $500 could come from consulting, in whatever you used to do for a living. It could come from tutoring, seasonal work, freelancing a skill you likely already have, or a part-time role that has nothing to do with your old career. Been there and done that. Here's why that number matters so much. A little bit of income in retirement reduces how much you have to pull out of your portfolio every single month. And money that stays invested instead of being withdrawn, what happens? It can keep on compounding. A small paycheck heading into retirement can be worth far more than a much bigger portfolio with no income behind it. Decision 8. This is the one that changes everything else. Everything so far has been about the money. And the money matters. Look, I get that. It's the foundation, but it's not the destination, because somewhere along the way, the people who retire well, they stop asking, hey, how much do I have? And they start asking, what does my life actually look like now? That includes your health. It includes the friendships. They don't happen automatically. Once there's no office to walk into, you lose those friendships. You've got to build some new ones maybe. It includes a sense of purpose on a Tuesday morning when nobody needs anything from you. It may include grandkids, volunteering, the routine that replaces the ones a job they used to give you for free. Nobody retires into a spreadsheet. You retire into a life. And that life is worth building as carefully as you built the number that gets you there. So if I woke up tomorrow, I was 60 and I felt behind, I wouldn't ask, how do I catch up to everybody else? I'd ask, how do I make the next 25 years the best ones yet? Because retirement isn't won by having the biggest account on the day you stop working. It's won by making good decisions over and over, starting from wherever you actually are today. Look, when I was younger, I thought retirement was a finish line. I don't think that anymore. I think retirement is a second chance, a chance to make better decisions, spend more time with the people who matter in my life, to get healthier, to be useful again. And if you're 60 today, you're a lot closer to that second chance than you think. This is Brain Flash.